So, garden update. It is now January. This garden was started in September. And some things were transferred in. And the bell peppers have not gained more than, say, 3 inches since they were put in these particular beds. Those are the Sugar Rush Peach. At this rate, I'm thinking that they're going to get transplanted outside in the spring, because that's how slow they're growing. The only thing that seems to be making it in these beds are the broccolini, and as you can see, they're really, really slow. So I'm about to give up on this whole system. Every other day, I think I'm just going to take the whole thing apart. So today, because the nutrient has been all used up, and because I need to change the water, that's what we're doing. In the background, those 2 beds are the Bosnian peppers, and again, they're not getting very big. Been maintaining about 65 degrees in here, which isn't really warm enough for peppers, because that could explain it. Considering putting them in a consolidated corner up top, and then putting a heat lamp on them, see what happens then. Anyway, in order to drain these barrels, because I have now already torn out part of the wall, there was a very slow leak from the top of this barrel on the left, and it maintained enough moisture to actually grow some mold. So, ripped out the mold, thrown it outside, but I think I need to take this whole thing apart and rethink it. Even though I've got the drip situation under control, I'm gonna, as with everybody else in the COVID era, been tearing the hell out of my house. So that's what's up next. I think I'm actually going to take that wall out. Now I put that wall in, basically moved it when I moved in. There was a wall, you can see where the seam is. There was a wall there, and in the kitchen there was a wall there. So where I'm standing is actually the old garage before they did an addition, and they had turned this into basically their pool hall. It was god-awful. The floor was never finished. So I think I'm just going to tear all of that out. That wire is brand new Romex that I strung across for an electrician, but it's not hooked up to anything, never was. So I'm just going to tuck that back in, and I think I'm going to take this whole wall out, reposition the barrels away from anything, and totally make sure that, well, I think I'm going to cut down to 1 barrel anyway, but try and get away from the wall so I can finish the work in here. In the meantime, this back wall, this brick wall, I'm going to keep all the beds over here, so I'm not sure where I'm going to position the barrel, but anyway, over here, I'm flooding the beds from the 2 big barrels, and then, again, broccolini's doing really well. Not much else is, except for, say, the algae. So, down at the bottom here, can't see the valve, but underneath this, there's a valve, and I've plugged into a garden hose that is currently slowly draining these beds, and all the water out of the system is going out through a hose through the garage into the garden. So I'm not wasting water, but it's time to change the water, which you have to do in these systems. I was trying to avoid it, but there's really no avoiding it. It's just silly butt. But yeah, like, I'm just not happy with it. See how all the perlite has come up? It was buried under rock. The perlite comes up, floats, and sinks back down. Well, the algae seems more contained in this bed because of that, I think. This bed, I actually went through and pulled out a lot of what basically reads as black rock is actually rock covered in algae. It's because of the spectrum of the lights that everything looks black or pink. Over here, you can see where it's really dark, there's definitely a bunch of algae in there. So the way that I'm draining these barrels is I'm giving these plants one last good soak, and it's draining into the bottom drain and then back out the front door, or out the garage door, rather, through the hose. So I have these 3 barrels to empty, and then I'm going to transplant these guys into pots, throw them up top, put them on a drip system instead, and throw a heat lamp up there so I can get them a little warmer. Let's see if we can't do a little better on that. But that's my my January update. The plants, some are doing well, some are not. The radishes, Chef wanted, not going to happen because it's just taken way too long. And frankly, it's kind of expensive to feed these things without having it be aquaponics or duckloponics. In which case, you know, the animals themselves are doing the feeding. When it's just hydroponics, you have to add all kinds of stuff and basically become a chemist to make it work. So I think we're gonna, you know, get by and make do for the winter. But I think most of these plants will end up being transplanted outside. Anybody who makes it anyway will get transplanted outside, and then I'll move the whole system out, finish up this room. In the meantime, I got, you know, just a couple of plants in this house. Anyway, so then out here, I set up a bunch of rain barrels. So now we've got 2 more barrels full. Those are on casters so I can roll them through. And then outside I've got 4 more barrels full of rainwater. That I can't use city water. I can't use treated water, basically. It has to be rainwater or distilled water. So here's my update. It's slowly getting cleaned up, drained out. And yeah, I think I'm done with the stress of worrying if it's going to grow mold or flood or any of that. I'm done. We'll figure out another way.